What's going on, guys? It's me, Caleb, and in this video I'm going to be showing you guys 7 things to bring and tips to do for international travel. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so the first tip that I have is to bring medicine with you. So when traveling internationally, you're going to want to avoid seeing a foreign doctor at all costs. Of course, if it's life or death situation, you're going to go ahead and go. But make sure to bring medicine with you. You know, if you're going to Africa, bring malaria pills. You know, if you're going to an area with a higher sickness, you'll bring flu pills. You'll bring things to protect yourself. Bring bug spray so you don't get malaria if you're going to Africa somewhere. Bring all that kind of stuff because you do not want to have to see a foreign doctor, because that just creates all sorts of problems. Alright guys, so my second tip is to make sure you have all the required documentation that you need. So this could be your passport, your birth certificate, social security card, vaccination card, visa papers, any documentation that you think you might need. Make sure you bring it with you, because a lot of different countries, you know, all have different laws and rules, and some countries you need certain things to enter. So make sure you check beforehand, but I can almost guarantee passport you're going to need, birth certificate, go ahead and bring, social security card, and visa papers if visa papers are needed. Make sure you bring those 4 things for sure, and then make sure you check to see what documents are required. All right, so my third tip is to travel lighter is better. So this might not actually work for everybody, but for me, I always travel with 2 book bags. There's one here in the background as well, and I have another book bag that I travel with. And it's mostly because if you go to an airport, they're going to want to weigh your bag if they think it weighs too much. And if it weighs over the amount, then you're going to have to pay more money to travel with your bag. And obviously, if you want to travel as cheap as possible, like I try to do, obviously you don't want that to happen. So put your stuff in 2 book bags. You have one for your clothes, one for camera gear. If you don't film anything, then you only need 1 book bag. Honestly, you could bring 5 different outfits and do laundry once a week. It wouldn't even be that much of an issue. So traveling light is better. Having less is more. I know it doesn't really make sense, but trust me, if you ever travel literally anywhere, less is more. You don't have to carry that stuff around. You don't have to leave stuff at the hotel. So that is my third tip. Alright guys, so for my 4th tip is to bring extra batteries. So this could be anything from bringing AA batteries to AAA batteries, to bringing extra battery packs, extra chargers. Make sure that you have extra of those, because you never know when you might not have access to an outlet or electricity, and you don't want your laptop or your phone to die. So you want to make sure that you have extra batteries with you at all times. Probably the most important thing, because if your phone dies and you don't have an extra battery charger, then you're going to be able to talk to anybody. So that is my 4th tip. Okay guys, my 5th tip is also very important and revolves around international charging converters and outlets. So this is a converting outlet. So as you can see, this side looks like that, this side looks like that, and as you can see there, it's backwards for you guys, but it says Europe. So this charger right here, this is what European outlets would use. So you bring it out, you plug this into the outlet, and then you'll be able to charge your stuff. And this has almost every country in the world, because some countries use the same, like Australia, Japan, the US, all have the same power grid. This, the Europe one works for all the countries in Europe. And there's also an African one, which will pop out. So this is very important. You can find these on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description of what they're called, so that way you can look it up for yourself. But this is very important. And then having a voltage converter. I have one. It's right here. It's a very big thing. This will plug in to this, like so. Plugs into the back like this. So if you're in, say if I'm in Europe, I'm gonna pull out this one right here. I'm gonna plug it into the outlet. I'm gonna plug this into the back and to convert it to charge my things. So in the US, most voltage is 100 to 120 amps, whereas in Europe it's 200 to 220. So if I try to plug my laptop in Europe, my laptop will get fried, which is why this is very important. And of course, this is important if you want your stuff to be able to charge it all. So I'll leave links in the description to what these are called, where you can get them at. I got these on Amazon. Together they cost me $35, so they're pretty cheap. Yeah, so for my 6th tip, bring plenty of US cash or euros. Pretty much all cash in Europe is accepted almost everywhere, and you're going to want to make sure you bring plenty of this, mostly if you have to get a visa on arrival, because say if I'm traveling to Egypt, I have a US passport, which means in Egypt I can get a visa on arrival. Not a big deal, but I don't have to pay for the visa. It's $25 in this case for a US citizen. but they only accept it in cash, and that's how most countries are. They don't accept debit or credit cards. They only accept cash payments, which is why you want to make sure you bring extra US cash or whatever currency or whatever country you're from. If you're from somewhere in Europe, bringing the euro, that'll do just fine. So make sure you bring extra cash of whatever country you're from, because you're going to need to be able to make the payments in cash. So it's very important. Also, a lot of restaurants will also take cash, especially US cash or euros. A lot of them will take cash, which is going to be very important. All right, guys, so my seventh and final tip is to make sure that any vaccinations you might need, you have. So I know right now that there's a lot going on with COVID vaccination. Currently, it's not required to enter any countries with that, but in the future, it very well could be. And some countries have different vaccinations that are required, such as the yellow fever vaccination. Most countries in Africa, you will need to make sure you have proof of your yellow fever vaccination. And there's many other vaccinations that you could have to get going to other countries. It's not super, strict. There's not like, a ton, but each country sometimes has different ones and some have multiple. So you're going to want to make sure that you have those. Do your research. All you have to do is pretty much look up the country and what required vaccinations are required before you get there, and then just make sure you have proof of it. You'll get a card. I know I have my COVID vaccination card right here. Obviously, I'm not going to show it because it has my information on it. But yeah, they usually give you a card or paperwork. Just bring that with you. Put it in a folder, show it to them, and you'll be just fine. All right, guys, so this concludes my video of 7 things to bring and tips of things to do before you travel internationally. I made a list of things to bring. I actually made a list of 9 things, and I only talked about 7. The other 2 things that I made were not as important, but I am going to put the entire list at the end of the video, and I'm going to type it in the description below. So if you ever need to reference something, you can just look at that instead of having to pick through the video to see when I talked about it. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at TravelCaleb. I post a lot of drone shots and GoPro stuff on there, most of which do not make it into YouTube videos, such as this one. This one doesn't have any drone shots or GoPro footage. So make sure you check me out on there, and I post other stuff on there just about updates with YouTube and when I post videos, all that kind of stuff. So make sure you check me out on there. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week.